3, 2, 1. Welcome to the Shoebox Show. This is Keegan Van Hook, your host, and joining me tonight is Stephen Papele, Kenny Carter, Sydney Cook, and just there on the jaw harp, Brandon, what's your last name? Kelsey. Brandon Kelsey, everyone. Brandon is a track runner. You also, what's your major again?
Emerging Media and Digital Arts.
Oh, okay, cool. Very, very similar to my own then. Yeah, he's here. How are we all doing? Has it been a good?
Fairly solid.
Fairly solid?
Yes.
That's good.
Great day, everyone.
Good.
I thought I had a lab due tomorrow. Turns out it wasn't due tomorrow.
Nice.
So that's nice.
Shit, yeah. Well,
now it's ruined.
now it's ruined because someone's knocking. Let's just.
Okay.
Turned out that the knock at the door was the Mormon missionaries once again. All four of them. 2 new ones this time. As Kenny said, I think this may be their training location. Yeah. They wanted to know how, if I had taken a look at the Book of Mormon. I told them we talk about it quite a bit around here.
not about what's in it, but mainly its quality.
Yeah.
The print quality is impeccable. I'm looking at it right now, and it's like super well.
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
Very nice cover.
It's like one step
sure.
away from being leather.
Not sure about the internal contents. However, the book itself feels nice in your hands.
Like I said, it really is no crazier than any other like holy text in terms of what it contains.
I guess so.
It feels weird because we're not used to it. But if it was like 300 years older, we'd be like, oh, that's a normal religion, just like Catholicism or Islam or Judaism. Like all of those religions feel normal because they've existed for so long. But you really look at them on an objective level, they're all just like really crazy and full of all this like insane magic stuff, just like the Book of Mormon. And so, I don't know, they're all like equally batshit as well as applicable in my mind. I don't know. It's a tangent.
Honestly, like Seventh-day Adventists are newer than Mormons,
Yeah.
and like Seventh-day Adventists are treated pretty casually, I would say.
Mm-hmm. It's like, to me, it's say what you want about like the political sides of churches. Like, you know, Catholicism has a huge amount of problems with its politics, but then you can flip it over and just look at its like spiritual side, and then that's where you sort of find things that are just a lot more interesting and I guess less easy to say whether or not they're good or bad, because I mean both of them contain some really insane stuff.
I mean, like the base, very ground level of pretty much every religion is great. It's like, be a good person and you'll succeed in life. And then it's all the shit that is piled on top that makes it weird.
Yeah, and that's pretty much the case with all of the books. Like,
Yeah.
you know, the Christian Bible has so much really cool stuff in it, but you kind of have to like sift through all of this really bizarre stuff. Like, okay, the whole book of Leviticus. Whoa, that's a bizarre place to be reading. You can just kind of, I feel like that you could just sort of throw out because it doesn't have much to do with like the core like tenet of what actually it all means, you know? It's like, as you said, it's always, the core of every religion kind of ends up being the same thing.
I actually have no idea what's in Leviticus other than like the 2 pages everyone uses in arguments.
It's the one where, obviously it's the one that says it's sinful to like engage in homosexual activities. But it also just contains like a ton of super specific rules about behavior.
And
Yeah.
it's
Most of the rules in Leviticus can be interpreted as like a way to keep yourself safe and healthy at the time it was written.
Yeah.
Like that's where you get kosher from too, because if you think about it, like this is super old news, I'm sure. Pork at the time would have been dangerous. I've long had a theory that it was probably like a health reason to not have gay sex then. When you're like founding a society, you want people to have as much procreative sex as possible.
That's also true. There was like some skit about that. I was telling Steven about it at one point, where it was like the day that they decided there could be no more samesies, the cavemen standing around going, guys, we've uncovered something. When we do samesies, no babies are born. And when no babies are born, we become weaker. So guys, I'm sorry. I know it's fun, but we have no more samesies. It's like, oh. It's like, but samesies is so much fun. I know. I like samesies too. But we can't be doing it. We can't afford it.
Cannot afford to have gay sex.
We cannot. No. And yeah, I guess that would be where it all stems from. It's just like, yep, we want as much reproduction as possible so that we can have a big ass army. Anyway, Brandon, how's the track season going? Or are we in the track season? I don't know anything about track.
Yeah, we're in the track season. It's in spring, and the team had its first meet last weekend, but I didn't go to that one. But this weekend should be my first meet down in Sacramento.
Cool. You looking forward?
Yeah.
Sweet.
What event do you do?
This coming meet, I'm going to run the 5K, but I usually run the 10K, which is 25 laps around the track, if you're not aware.
Whoa. That's a lot of running.
Yes.
Imagine being able to run.
I used to, in middle school, do like cross country and some track stuff, but that was mostly just at the behest of other people being like, you should have a sport. And I'm like, I guess if I have to. Okay. And I would just dabble in everything. Like just randomly like, oh, today I feel like throwing a javelin. And, oh, today I feel like jumping over a thing. Like just fooling around mostly.
Yeah, middle school track is the best because like I did the softball throw in middle school track.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I could never really get into sports in a huge way. It just was like, it's got to be like something outdoors and like an actual goal-oriented activity of like, all right, we're out here to like accomplish this thing, like finish a hike or something like that. You have to frame it up like it's an adventure, I think.
You don't like failure states in your exercise.
Yeah, exactly. Like, when you're standing there like on the side of a mountain like huffing and puffing, it isn't like you failed or anything. That's just what you do while you're hiking. Yeah. But, it's like in a sport you can lose. And then it's like, fuck, I lost. Shit. Yeah, so I don't know. I just like to get the activity out however I can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Surfing is going to be a good one for that's for sure.
Right.
Once you get that board finished up.
Real passive, kind of just go and enjoy yourself. If you wipe out, that's part of it in a way. Yeah.
It is a lot of really intensive activity as well, paddling, like especially if it's harder to get past the break. It's like it's a lot of exercise and it's like it's really rewarding though, when you really like when you get mad pitted, bro.
Oh hell yeah.
Smack the lip, drop in.
Yeah, What?
I don't know about Keegan, but on our last surf trip, I worked really hard.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. That nap I took on the beach, hardest I've worked.
You were just visualizing the experience. Yeah.
I got there and I took a nap.
Yeah, that's half the battle anyway. So.
But I was really good about putting on my sunscreen.
Yeah. This summer I just want to hang out in like Brookings and Crescent City as much as I can and surf it up, Yeah. Try and get like okay at doing it by the end of the summer so that then like next summer I can go and be like, yeah, I'm a surfer, dude. Yeah, I know how to do this. No problem. Yeah. Let's go.
There's free camping by Crescent City, by that little strip of beach.
Yeah. There's a lot of, if you're clever, there's a lot of free camping all over the coast.
Yeah.
You just have to kind of find where you want to go. Near Crescent City, there is a very specifically good spot for free camping where I won't spoil its exact location, but if you're really good at snooping around on Google Maps, you'll probably be able to locate it. It's just this like failed plot of, I guess some guy wanted to build like a town of condos, and so he laid out all the roads, but then like didn't have the money to build up any structures. So there's an area north of Crescent City that is just all of these like abandoned roads laid out like there's supposed to be a town or a community there, but instead it's just like a forest and like a few random little habitations where people have either like legally bought property out there and they're living on it, or they're just like they've parked their bus and that's where they're staying. And it's totally unmonitored, so the camping is just kind of like free. I've gone there a few times and
it's pretty cool.
Hung out, and the beach there is really nice too. It's about as nice as any other section of beach, so that'll be a spot that I'm gonna try and go and just like hang out for days and surf. ought to be fun. Where are you run a lot? Where are your like favorite running spots around here, or like hikes? I guess hikes and running spots can be very similar.
Yeah. We have like a few set routes that we go on. Like, so we have like our workout days and we have our easy days, and then we have a long run day every Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
And easy days, I mean, sometimes we'll just go down Siskiyou and then make our way to the bike path and back, or like go just up through Lithia Park or something. But the long run days are some of the best runs I've gone on, where like we'll go up to Mount A and run along the PTC over there, or we'll go up to Green Springs Summit and run along the trails down there. Or sometimes we'll just go above Lithia, like on Bandersnatch to White Rabbit or whatever. So
cool.
Yeah.
Are you guys training at higher altitudes, trying to like acclimate, or is that just a coincidence?
We mostly stay around here, and it's if we do go up higher, it's just because we felt like it.
Cool.
There's no real meaning behind it.
Yeah. I worked for a long time at a ranch that was at a pretty high altitude, and so I got really used to hard work with like less oxygen than normally. Mm-hmm. So then after working that job, I went back to Portland, which is significantly lower altitude, and I felt like a superhuman down there. I was like really like, wow, everything is really easy. I have so much energy. Like I don't get tired out. And it was all just because of like a major difference in altitude.
Yep.
Because Central Oregon is really high. And then you go to Portland and it's like almost on the level of the ocean, because it's on the Willamette River, which is flowing into the Columbia, which very quickly flows into the ocean after that. So, yeah, I always just noticed that, like, whoa, so much energy.
Lots more oxygen in your blood.
Hell yeah. What, anybody notice that shit with Instagram and Facebook and whatnot being down today?
I heard about it a little bit, but I wasn't on Facebook for most of the afternoon, so I didn't really experience it.
I don't use Facebook, but I use Instagram, and just like all day was kind of noticing problems. Then finally this evening, it's like, oh my gosh, this is completely not working. And so I looked it up, and there's been like an outage with everything connected to Facebook.
Is that why I couldn't find my Micro Homestead Instagram account?
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah. Stories weren't posting, and all kinds of things were going on. Like even the Oculus Rift VR system, like people who are using that network were unable to like log in and download games and stuff, which is really strange. Like that some bug could just affect everything that Facebook has and knock it down. Because like they just don't really even have outages of even one thing at a time.
And Facebook is also under investigation from the FBI.
Oh gosh.
Right now, and so.
What for specifically?
Something to do. Well, you guess it. Information. I think just utilizing information in some weird way. I don't know the specifics, but I mean, take a gander, take a guess. I mean,
there's so many things that they're doing that they could potentially be under investigation for. Stealing all the info from everybody and selling it to other corporations. Selling it to China. Selling it to.
Boy.
God damn it, Mark Zuckerberg. I don't know how.
I was on Reddit earlier today, and someone had posted, like anti-vax stuff is very popular right now. And someone had posted this whole thing about how Mark Zuckerberg was trying, like, he took his daughter to be vaccinated, and the, like, whiteboard behind him when he posted a picture of him and his daughter said Rump Terry or something like that. And this person had taken a screenshot of that and then got into this medieval like folklore about some guy that was really good at charades and tied that all into the fact that Mark Zuckerberg is being forced by the government to vaccinate his kid, but he knows it's bad for her.
God.
I love it.
Nice.
Have you guys ever like looked up the like QAnon stuff?
Oh
How
yeah,
people
that's
get
insane.
into these like absolutely like I looked it up like today because I was kind of wondering, okay, what are these people talking about? And it linked to this image that was this like insane flowchart that I had to zoom in like 20 times to see like the text and all the things connecting to it. And the only part I remember from it is 2 lines connecting Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton, and above it, it just said, in quotations, the deep state.
Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton alone are the deep state.
Yeah.
Jeez.
It's
like the classic.
It's so like, it is like the height of taking advantage of people's like need to look for like patterns.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many.
yeah,
It's so like, because anything he says, if anything happens after it, like they somehow connect it.
You're right.
Because he just says random crap, and then it's like, oh, this is what he meant.
Oh.
Yeah, there's something.
And then half the time, like everyone's predictions about what he means are wrong, because he's not actually predicting anything. Of course, he's just saying things to like fool everyone. I guess it's real dumb.
Wait, so to be clear, who are you talking about?
Do you not know about the QAnon thing?
QAnon.
QAnon. Okay.
QAnon.
Do you know like the full story of where it came from?
Why don't you tell it?
I don't really know it that well. I know at some point, so my understanding of how it started is at some point or another, some guy posted on 4chan,
Yeah.
not anonymously, with just the letter Q as his name, I think. I don't understand how 4chan works. But after that, he claimed to be like an insider of the Trump White House, and he talked about how like they're about to arrest all the Democrats and everyone in Hollywood for like a pedophile ring. And this is just 4chan, where people just like shitpost.
Mm-hmm.
But for some reason, a bunch of people believed him, and so it's kind of gone out of control since then.
Oh yeah, and I mean, like, I've heard that whenever Trump, like, he'll always reference like the 13 angry Democrats, and like, Mueller's has his 13 angry Democrats. They're coming to investigate me. And so they see, oh, Q is the 13th letter of the alphabet.
Oh my god.
That means Trump knows about it. So, yeah, that's their justification for it. And they're like people at Trump rallies wearing Q t-shirts and everything. Yeah, holding up Q and on signs.
It's like flat earther logic.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I watched that that flat earther documentary on Netflix, the like Beyond the Curve or something like that. Yeah.
That's
And
great.
there's this woman who is a part of the Flat Earth Society. She's a flat Earth podcaster.
Yeah.
And I forget her full name, but the initials of her name are CIA. And so, of course...
No, it's like the last
her name
letters.
is Patricia?
Yeah.
Patricia,
And the last 3 letters of Patricia are CIA.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That was
it's
like
even-
worse. It's even worse. It's even dumber.
That's even
Like,
worse, yeah.
'cause, like, if it was like a fake name, then like, even then it's dumb. But Patricia's a name a lot of people have.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's a part of the CIA, according to many other flat earthers, and she had this moment of like revelation, like you know,
clarity.
like these people are like making ridiculous conspiracy theories out of nothing. It's kind of like me almost. I wonder if that's like me.
Sometimes I wonder if that applies to what I believe,
Right there.
but I know it doesn't.
Yeah,
She, like, literally-
it was like a 2-second pause where she's like, nah.
Jesus. Yeah, people believe some just whack things.
At a certain point, though, if you're like one of those big conspiracy guys, your like livelihood depends on you remaining crazy.
Yeah, like Alex Jones can never back down, even probably
Yeah.
if he wants to, because he's just like,
Yeah.
that's what he makes his
Did
money
you guys
doing.
hear about him getting like super wasted on a live stream?
Really?
It was great. He cried about how he couldn't see his kids.
Oh.
It was like really messed up.
I can't believe he has
I
kids.
almost feel sorry for him.
Yeah, it's like, if without any context, it's like really sad. But when you know who it is, it's like, oh, never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. You were crazy on air. Like, you got to be careful on air, man. Don't say some strange shit.
His ex-wife also alleged that he was violent towards her and the kids during their divorce.
Yeah, and
Like,
like,
she-
his argument back was, "Oh, I'm just playing a character. This isn't really me."
No, wasn't it? That was his lawyer's thing.
Yeah,
and
or-
he said like, "No, it's not." And his lawyer's like, "Shut up."
No, I think it was like she said that he was violent towards her, and people were like, well, with the way his show goes, of course. And then he said, well, you can't bring my show into it because that's just me playing a character. But that doesn't really address the domestic violence allegations.
Yeah, it doesn't. And it's also, like, takes credibility away from his show, which he wants credibility, right?
Right. He sells it as nonfiction.
Yeah. And he sells a bunch of other stuff on that show.
Yeah.
I didn't realize until, like, a couple months ago that, like, his show is 4 hours long, and 25% of it is dedicated to selling, like, vitamin supplements and tactical taint wipes and stuff.
This family I used to work with was super into Alex Jones, and like right when I met them, I was there for 6 hours one day, and there was an Alex Jones live stream going on for 24 hours, and they decided to watch the whole thing.
Jeez.
So I sat in their living room playing with their kids, and they were watching the Alex Jones live stream 24 hours straight, totally fine. They were also really into Alex Jones to the point that they had his brain supplement, Brain Force for Men, and Brain Force for Women.
Separate products. Bought separately.
Yes, they had purchased them, and they swore by them. They said that they felt so much more like on top of things when they took their supplement. Which I'm a big believer in supplements, but I'm pretty sure Alex Jones is probably just caffeine.
Yeah.
All of it's probably just like pretty common things that appear in most foods, you know.
Disclaimer, I'm not a doctor and this does not constitute medical advice.
Oh, my favorite part about his show, if you can have a favorite part, is that one of the people, like his like correspondents or contributors or whatever that he brings on the show sometimes, like says he's a doctor or like says he's like this a graduate from this certain college, and he's been to that college and that's it.
No,
He went there.
It's the classic thing. If you ever see like one of those bullshit supplement things, sorry, I interrupted you, Keegan, but if you ever see like a doctor, like selling supplements, unless it's like Dr. Oz, who's like an actual brain surgeon, he's still selling crap.
Yeah.
To be clear, but make sure the doctor isn't a chiropractor, because that's not a real doctor.
Yep.
Lots of doctors or lots of chiropractors just slap that doctor in front of their name, and it gives them so much power to tell people all kinds of things. Well, I'm a doctor. My name is Dr. Jefferson, and I can prescribe you the supplement. I suggest this supplement as Dr. Jefferson.
My mom's good friend is a massage therapist and a doula, so she changed her name on Facebook to have her I think it's like LMP, licensed massage practitioner, in her name, the way that like PhDs sign. She added it, and I was like, I don't really get that. Just adding like, not even a PhD would do that on their Facebook. Facebook's for like dicking around.
Jeez.
Also, I'm not sure about the legitimacy. I know like some chiropractic is bullshit. I'm sure some of it's real. So saying they're not real doctors kind of feels gatekeepy, but they're not like, they didn't go to medical school is the point.
Well,
Yeah.
PhDs don't go to medical school, but they still get to be called doctor.
Well, they didn't go to like graduate school either.
Oh, okay.
They went to chiropractic school usually.
But if like a chiropractor also has a PhD or like some sort of thing and happens to practice chiropractory, do we call them doctor?
I don't know. Well, usually we don't say like, if I got a PhD in ornithology. You're just chill.
Dog.
If I got it, you don't say, oh, he's a doctor. You say he's an ornithologist.
Yeah.
So you would,
but I would still address you as like Dr. Kenny.
Yeah, but I guess it's, I don't know. Doctor's sort of a weird title.
Yeah.
It's not like doctor can be a, what's the term? Like
A title?
Like a title, but it can also be like an occupation, and those two things are kind of different.
Yeah, chiropractors, it's like chiropractic is real. Like they, it can like fix your back and like help your posture and like get rid of a lot of pain. But a lot of chiropractors like upsell it so much, and
Yeah.
they're like, I can cure your cancer with a correction. Or like, you got some HIV, like I can let that up. I got it.
Speaking of pseudoscience, this woman I babysit for
Ooh.
is an anti-vaxxer, which I didn't know when I got the job. And she's a hardcore anti-vaxxer. I'm getting ready to quit, so I'm totally comfortable talking about this. Because she, when I got the job, she misled me about how vaccinated her kid is. And then her kid recently started an evaluation process that might be caused, and by might be, I mean in anti-vaxxers' heads, by vaccines, according to anti-vaxxers. So, now she'll acknowledge what her kid has, but only because she wants to further the anti-vax agenda. And she's talking about moving out of Oregon and renting me her house without asking if I wanted to, because Oregon might pass mandatory vaccinations. And then on top of that, today she was 45 minutes late getting home so I could leave, because she got in a fight with the receptionist at the doctor's office about whether or not vaccines caused autism.
Oh god.
Really worth being late over.
Yeah.
Let me fight this battle.
Thank God I didn't have anywhere important to be.
Other than back with your family. Oh well.
My doggy.
Yeah. We found a lost dog. Do you want to talk about that, Sydney?
Yeah, so Keegan lives in a trailer park, and it's a nice trailer park. Very, very fancy.
No, it isn't.
The neighbors drive this beautiful, completely quiet truck that never squeaks.
Hey, I mean, if the Mormons are willing to come down here, so
Oh,
it can't be
yes.
that bad.
We are often visited by Mormons, who are wonderful. They won't shake my hand, though. But on Tuesday, I was driving down the street in the trailer park, and one of the very loud trucks was driving towards me, and I saw a dog in front of my car, so I pulled over and grabbed her. And she's this little tiny dachshund. We've named her Schnapsy, and she's very cute, very energetic, kind of a little shit.
Yeah, she keeps pooping on the ground in my house, which isn't fun. Yeah, what can
Just to be clear, they took her to a vet,
Oh yeah.
looked for a chip.
She doesn't have one.
Yeah, we
they've put up
did.
posters.
We have gone through all the procedures in order to return a dog to its home, and I desperately want someone to get back to me about that.
We called the shelter and told them that we had this dog, and I filed a found dog report. We don't want a dog. We
Yeah.
have so little interest in having a dog. But we're doing an okay job taking care of her. I gave her a bath today. We fed her. Keegan took her on a walk yesterday. We took her to the lake today.
Yeah, so she's been happy.
She's living the dream.
Oh yeah, right now she's very happy.
Yeah, she pretty exclusively cares only for belly rubs, and like at all times that's all she's asking for. She just turns on her back and looks at you, and kind of like, if you're not belly rubbing her, she'll like desperately moan and grunt like, please, oh god, please belly rub me. Oh.
She only behaves when I'm home, though.
That's also true. And whenever Sydney leaves, she just becomes impossible, like really, really hard to deal with by myself.
Like, she'll lay down in the kitchen when I'm cooking, eats the broccoli I drop, fine, whatever. But she's super good when I'm here. She hasn't pooped in the house since I got home.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like her. I just don't have time for a dog. Or the money.
Yeah.
Dogs are expensive.
Hopefully somebody gets back to us soon about it. And she will go back through the interdimensional portal that she appeared from.
I have had 2 people message me on Facebook because I posted just a vague, hey, I found a dog, message me a description if your dog is missing. And I had 2 people message me. One was looking for like a rat terrier, and the other was looking for a King Charles Cavalier. And for a while I thought she might be part cocker, but she's not the dog they were looking for. They sent me a picture. Very cute dog, but not this one.
Yeah. Poor pupper.
She's She doesn't care.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty neutral on the whole situation, as far as I can tell.
Yeah, as long as someone gives her belly rubs.
Right.
Doesn't matter who.
She may have pulled me down a hill earlier. The details are a little fuzzy, but
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah, at the lake, Sydney had a little bit of a wipeout.
yeah. Fell hard enough I locked my left knee. Yikes.
Yup.
Good doggy though.
Yeah, Keegan and I had to chase her down after you left Sydney yesterday.
Yeah,
we-
she escaped again, actually.
And we were opening the door to let in this other cat that likes to visit very frequently. Her name is Mary Jane, and Schnapsy just took off. She just ran through, went under this little gap under the fence, and we were just like, ah.
Yeah, the gate wasn't opening for me. I was like, fuck, gotta get.
And
Yeah.
so she like disappeared briefly, and then I saw her kind of like rummaging around in the trailers behind Keegan's, and I was like, oh, there she is.
Not surprised she's lost at all.
Not surprised. Yeah.
Yeah. She, I've been keeping this harness on her. For a while I was putting it on and taking it off every time we had to go outside. But it makes it easier to grab her when I open the door.
Mhm.
Or at night if I have to take her out to go potty. I don't want to have to deal with getting myself dressed, getting her on a harness, and then take her outside. On a related note, my cats hate her.
Yeah.
This is the best behaved. Right now, my cat Pickles, is just casually chilling. The trick is to not let Schnapsy see him, because Schnapsy gets excited and wants to play with Pickles, and Pickles is not into it.
Now you're
Yeah.
probably
we're
here.
actually in a little bit of a danger zone right now as we speak.
yeah.
I am holding Pickles.
Gosh, yeah.
The cat.
The animals are
And
now
he's-
wanting access to each other.
It looks like they want to fight.
For a-
so
for a
I'm just gonna toss him down there. You go, big boy.
Pickles
yeah,
is a bit of a chonker.
Pickles weighs 17 pounds at last check. He's he's my better behaved cat. As in he hasn't fought Mary Jane, but he is my worst behaved cat because he keeps trying to fight Schnapsy, but Boots just kind of sits near him. You know?
Yeah. Boots is a casual, curious one.
Also, Schnapsy just took off her harness. What a bitch.
Is he vomiting?
No.
It's just
And then
a
vomits.
little sneezer.
Vomits on our only sheet.
Oh, that would be perfect.
But
Man.
yeah. You know, Brandon, one thing I just thought of, kind of a non sequitur, but just with like all the running you do around the Rogue Valley, you come across a lot of like really interesting places. You know, you
Oh, yeah.
just find a lot of strange places.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
A few, I'm sure you have a few in mind that you might want to
Yeah.
divulge.
Well, we found a cave one time.
Oh.
It was actually an old mine. It's called Lamb Mine, and it's if you go like just up Ashland Loop Road, there's like this trail that goes off to the right, and just like probably like 200 meters down the trail is the entrance, and it's all barred up, but you can like squeeze through, and it goes back like probably about like half a mile,
Whoa.
and it's really cool.
I want to see it.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. You
How
should-
far from here is it?
Not too far. The easiest way is probably to go park at the beginning of the Toothpick Trailhead. You
Okay.
know where that is? And then just hike down that for like probably like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and then you'll get there.
Yeah, it's just up Tolman Creek Road if you drive up that.
Yeah.
and,
Cool.
Yeah, it's
There's a lot
It's
of
gnarly.
abandoned mines in Oregon.
mhm.
The whole West, really. But
Mhm.
Oregon has a bunch of hot spots for them, and Southern Oregon, kind of around here, is one of those where there's
Yeah.
just, if you go wandering around in the right parts of certain mountain ranges and like the bumpy hills, you'll just run across like a collapsed mine entrance from like 150 years ago.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, yeah.
200 years ago even.
Yeah.
Some of
Talking-
them. Some of them are just really, really old.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, talking to my archaeology professor last term, like it's been a common thing in the past in Jacksonville for like people's backyards to just cave in from like abandoned gold mines just going under neighborhoods.
What's really interesting is a lot of abandoned gold mines that have been abandoned even for a very long time still have quite a bit of gold left in them, because that's sort of the thing. It's like with any resource there comes a point where it's not like worth extracting anymore because it becomes harder to dig than the price that it can currently be sold for. And so there are some places where there actually is once again valuable gold in these old sites because like the economics has changed, and now if you were to go and harvest that gold, it would be valuable enough that you could sell it as being like fresh gold into the market, make some money back.
Lamb Mine was a gold mine.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, like you can go online and there's all kinds of auctions for like mine sites that used to be really big back in the 1800s and early 1900s and then have been abandoned for a long time and like forgotten, and then somebody like finds that they own a claim to something and they're like, whoa, I am rich. And they sell it off, you know, just being like, yep, there's like this chance that you'll find gold here and make even more money than I will. Yeah.
That happened to my little sister.
She found that she was the owner of a gold claim.
No, not at all. I'm lying.
What happened?
Nothing.
Oh, okay.
Kelly's 15.
Yeah, I love exploring old mines.
Yeah,
It's
it's really cool.
Yeah, it's a spooky feeling because they can collapse and kill you in all kinds of weird ways.
Yeah, very, very claustrophobic vibes
Yeah.
in there.
I had like the second week this term, I went up there. I'm in like Digital Audio Foundations here, and went up there all by myself to record like 30 seconds to a minute of just ambient cave sounds.
Nice.
It was really creepy.
Yeah, getting into there and then like shutting up and being quiet.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa, it's quiet and
Just
just
super dark and everything. Yeah.
Do caves have an ambient sound?
yeah.
Yeah, like water dripping and just like, I don't know, air moving throughout it.
There's always kind of like a blowing breezy sort of noise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't make a habit of climbing into caves.
Oh, you should. It's so safe.
I
I'm buying you.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm buying all of you a canary for Christmas.
Oh yeah, I thought about it. I thought maybe I should get a canary for this.
Very nice.
Well, what I was gonna say is one of the most interesting things I find about caves is that when people like get lost deep in a cave and like their headlamp shuts off or whatever, they'll like your brain will start to kind of hallucinate and just you'll think you'll see very vague outlines of rocks and everything. It's like you're like, oh, there must be a light somewhere very far away, but it's not. It's just your brain seeing, quote unquote, these things, and so people will just get even more lost because they're just going about trying to find the exit to this cave.
Jeez.
So it sounds like your visual sensory cortex might be active, even though your visual cortex isn't.
Maybe that.
Oh,
that
some
could be.
neurosci.
Yeah.
We'll have to ask our behavioral neuroscience teacher tomorrow.
Yeah. I know too. I mean, even just like waking up early or just early in the morning when I have to like go to the bathroom or something, I'll get out of my apartment and it's really dark and you see like your mind just like make shapes of things, you know, that may not be there. So sometimes I'll like see people like, you know, I might see an outline like, oh, that looks like a person, but I'm like, no, of course not.
Yeah.
There's like a lava tube somewhere near Sun River, Oregon, where if you get down to the bottom and then turn off all your lights, like there isn't any sunlight of any kind, no ambience whatsoever. Like it's dark, and that will happen where suddenly it's like hallucinations of like all these colors, and you're like, whoa, why am I seeing all these things in the corners of my eyes? It's impossible.
Essentially like natural primary. Like a natural sensory deprivation tank.
Yeah.
That's kind of what that is. It's just like very little or at least very little visual input, at least, and probably auditory input. And so you're just, you know, your mind just has to fill it in with something, you know.
It was pretty cool. It's fairly heavily hiked trail like through the cave. It's pretty popular. And so we knew, being in the bottom, that pretty soon there'd be other people. So we just waited down there until somebody else showed up, because we wanted to like see the first light of their flashlights. And it's really weird when you're down there and then like someone's light just sort of sweeps around the corner, and it's really, really bright all of a sudden. It's like the sun is illuminating it. Yeah. What was it? Like, if you're in a cave for a long time with no light, and then you light a match, it'll like it'll be enough to see everything you need to do. It would be enough light to write by, that kind of thing.
Because your eyes have just adjusted so much.
I do know that like flashlights are called that because they used to do just that. They just flashed, and that gave your like brain enough to like, oh, yep, I know the entire what this cave looks like now. Because when that's all it's getting, it's like, oh, I can make use of that.
I think that's what they took with them to the moon, actually. Like, they had those kinds of flash beam sort of flashlights where if they were in like the shadow of a crater or something, and it's like no light whatsoever, because like on the moon there is no ambient light because the atmosphere doesn't diffract it. If you're in a shadow, it's completely dark. And so like in that situation, I guess for whatever reason they found it would be better to use like a poof, poof kind of light, where like every 5 seconds it flashes really, really bright, and they can like get a full look around, and then that paints enough of a mental image
And
that you can keep moving.
I'm pretty sure like SWAT teams or like tactical military operations, they in the dark, they won't like keep their lights on the whole time. They'll just like flash it every couple of seconds.
Yeah, it's not, because I guess that's disorienting to the enemy as well. You know. My friend Lewis, one day in high school, he brought in just the flash off of a camera that he had like taken apart, and so he had like this little light bulb that if he like flicked this one metal mechanism, it would go like poof, like really bright, and he was using it to stun people. He'd be like, hey, look right into this, poof. You'd be like, I can't see anything.
That's great.
Probably really, really great for our eyes. But at the same time, I had one of those like fire alarm speakers that little dog, that you can press a button and it makes like an ear-shatteringly high-pitched noise, pew, really bright, or not bright, but really loud. So the combination of those two things was a stun gun. Like, you get put that in somebody's face and set it off, it's like, boom, you're like sensory deprived for a few seconds. It was cool. That stuff is fun. Well, anybody read any good books recently?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. I read this really interesting science fiction called Origin.
Ooh.
And it's about this scientist. It's kind of like scientist / like very brilliant entrepreneur that has been able to predict a lot of like trends in technology and society. And he holds this big conference where he makes these really, really big predictions about like where the next step in human evolution is, and also like where basically how like life was created.
Ooh.
And it's incredibly fascinating, and it also pulls from a lot of like real science as well.
Cool.
It goes into like the primordial soup, and basically like a lot of like complex carbohydrates, I think, or complex something floating around in the ocean, and how eventually organic molecules,
yeah,
that turned into life.
That whole predicting the future thing reminds me a lot of Psychohistory from the Foundation series by Isaac Asimov, where like he breaks down exactly that, like trends in human technology and society, and he breaks all of this stuff down into like equations that he's able to use in order to like very accurately predict what like the mass of humanity will do. And it follows like really interesting rules. Like you can't do it on individuals. It has to be like a group of people of over 1 billion or more. That's like, you can't predict the actions of smaller groups of people than that. But what he does is like he makes all of these calculations, and he finds out that the Galactic Empire is going to collapse in 300 years. And so the whole story is like about him trying to set up sort of a way that will make the difference, because what he predicts is that the empire will collapse and then it'll be a period of darkness and chaos lasting 30,000 years before there will be like another golden age. And he comes up with this big plan to like steer human events so that that dark age will only be 1,000 years compared to 30,000.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole story is about like this organization trying to like keep like swaying human events so that the calculations will work out properly, that there will be a new empire much sooner. And it's a really, really like interesting story, and it gets really deep into like how the predictions work, and then sometimes things disrupt the predictions, and they have to like recalculate everything, and they're like, fuck, it's not going to work anymore unless we adjust these things. And it was just like, yeah, I love those sorts of stories of like, what if we can predict everything we're going to do from here on out? It's pretty interesting.
I haven't really been reading too many books recently, but recently I think Google decided that I should read a specific book. I don't know if you guys ever get this, where it seems like Google or YouTube decides, I'm gonna really strongly recommend a book to this person. And it'll start recommending like a bunch of like book reviews for a book or for a movie or a TV show.
Right.
And I got that for a book called House of Leaves.
Oh, I'm familiar with that book. It's weird.
Yeah, it's the idea of the book, I think, is the story isn't really in the book. The book is like an object in the story, and you kind of get the story from like it. It has like a bunch of writings from different characters, drawings from different characters.
That's cool.
I don't know the full premise because I actually kind of want to read it now.
It sounds cool.
It's really interesting. I haven't read it, but forever ago I had a roommate who read it, and she said that it's formatted really weirdly because the text, for a while you'll be reading it and it's like written like a normal book, and then it just flips and you're supposed to read like the margin. So instead of being a normal book with like margins, it's like, and here's this doodle, and you have to read all the text wrapping around the doodle.
So it's like a clue book almost. You're like solving a mystery using the evidence contained therein.
I think so.
It's cool.
I'm thinking of getting it.
Yeah, I think it was good. My roommate got frustrated with the way it was formatted and stopped reading.
What was that book series? It reminds me of there was a book series that was always like advertised really hard at those book fairs.
39 Clues.
39 Clues.
Oh my god.
Yep.
And how it just like, yeah, it was like a live mystery that kept happening book to book. You had to go online sometimes to find things. It was
I
cool.
think I got one of the books and it came with like a pack of cards.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is dumb. I never read the book or like did anything with the mystery.
Yeah, it like never really caught me either.
Yeah.
My brother was really into it.
I read like the first 3 or 4 or something when I was a kid, but like it was like the characters get one clue after each book, and then it's like there's gonna be 39 of these books. I can't stay with it that long.
Yeah, I can't imagine committing to anything for 39 of it.
Yeah.
We're getting divorced after 38 years.
Probably.
You know what? The only thing I ever wanted at those book fairs were the spy gadgets.
Yeah.
I really liked the pencils.
All the stuff you can just get at Dollar Tree for $1, but there it's like $15 because it's the book fair and it's educational, Mom. It's educational.
Yeah,
Pay
I also
for
wanted
it.
the video games.
Yeah.
I wanted
Game Boy
Lego
Advance
Racer.
game.
In 6th grade, there was a whole ring of girls stealing from the book fair, and it was like probably wouldn't have been a thing except I tattled. I wasn't in the ring, which is probably why I tattled. I was jealous.
Oh my gosh, I totally could have just stolen from the book fair.
No one would have noticed.
No one.
But
But of
like-
course, at that age, stealing is impossible. Like, it's
Yeah.
impossibly illegal.
Well, like, no, this one girl stole from the book fair, and I tattled on her, and then she got suspended for like 3 days, and her friends all beat me up in PE.
Oh, wow.
It was really bad. Her mom was the basketball coach, so she still had to go to the basketball game and watch.
Oh,
No.
that sucks.
Yeah, I got to go home early, though.
Yeah, that's good.
Snitches get stitches.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. That girl also, like one of her friends stabbed me with a pencil one time by
I
accident.
had a kid like that in my
Um,
8th grade class.
I still have the graphite in my hand.
Oh
Me,
wow.
I have graphite from one of my pencil stabbing adventures.
Apparently, it's really common.
Yeah.
Because it's really hard to get out.
Yeah, and it doesn't break down.
I
Like-
told the teacher's aide, and she was like, "It's fine, whatever." And I was like, "It's really in there."
One time in Mr. Baker's woodshop class in middle school.
Thank you for volunteering. sir.
Thank you for volunteering, Mr. Baker would always say.
Yes.
Well, one time in Mr. Baker's class, which is where these sorts of things always would happen, this one kid told another kid, like, "Hey, I bet you're not badass enough to stab me in the hand with a pencil." And he, like, slapped his hand down on the desk. And the other kid, without hesitating, just takes his pencil and, like, whack! And just, like, sinks it into this dude, like the top of this dude's hand. It goes all the way through into the table. Like, he makes a hole in this guy's hand. And of course it's like screaming and blood and like, oh my god.
Oh man.
And like the kid gets suspended, and then he comes back and everyone's just like, why did you stab that guy in the hand? It was like, he asked me to. He told me that I wasn't strong enough to do it, so I did it.
Oh my.
You won't stab me. Quote from Man Stab.
Come on, what are you gonna do? Stab me?
Keegan and I have this running joke that the whole joke is local man convinced by wife that cat can pee in the toilet. Because one time my cat peed in the toilet, but no one else has seen him do it. And he did it like 3 times, actually. It was right after he had his bladder infection. He started using the toilet.
I don't believe it.
Alright, I like had trouble believing it, and then I saw videos on the internet of cats doing it. So they do it. There's a precedent for cats being able to use the toilet.
I think,
Oh, you can train them.
Yeah.
well, you can, and I have a training kit for it. I just haven't gotten around to it because I only have one toilet in my house.
Oh, yeah.
So the way the kit works, basically you put a pan over the toilet and you fill it with litter. So that's their litter box, and then you get like a smaller and smaller pan, so there's a hole in the middle. And it's like fine, unless you, like me, have to use the same toilet as your cat, because then you have to move the litter every time you want to pee. And I'm not interested.
That would be very annoying. Like every time you have to use the bathroom, like middle of the night, like, oh, gotta disassemble this gadget.
Like the whole novelty of like having your cat like pee in the toilet is them like into the toilet, like not like nothing, just like standing like on the rim of the toilet and just doing their business.
I think that's what the training device like gets them to do eventually. Like then
Okay.
you can take it away and they continue using it because they've gotten it in their head.
yeah,
that that's what
okay,
they do.
yeah.
You shape
Obviously,
the behavior.
Yeah.
So you start
That
with
makes
them
sense.
peeing near the toilet,
Mhm.
and like peeing like while standing on the toilet, but into litter.
Yep.
And then like slowly less and less litter until there's none. But there's some downsides, like the fact that like cats, you know, instinctively try to cover their litter, and the fact that if you travel now, like you have to hope that wherever you're staying will let your cat use their toilet. And
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
think your parents would let my cat use their toilet.
Probably not. Well, my
mine
parents have 3 toilets. It wouldn't be a problem.
My parents will let my cat use their toilet, and also if you have to go to the vet doesn't have a toilet. You know, they're not going to let them use the toilet there.
Yeah.
So they'd forget how to use a litter box.
They might.
Oh, jeez.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, in this one video, a cat freaking poops in the toilet and then is like about to walk away, and the owner holding the camera is like, "Hey, flush." The cat like turns around and flushes the toilet.
Who doesn't know how to flush the toilet after they had it? I can't. That's
Oh.
Irish.
Disgusting!
Disgusting.
Disgusting! And that's one of those videos that I don't know how it found its way
Yeah.
onto the internet, because like
Someone
then
must
did
have uploaded
they
it.
post it, like
Yeah.
that horribly embarrassing moment? Was it being live streamed?
Yeah, but it didn't seem like a live stream. It was just really. It's a great video though. It's the finest piece of Scottish culture.
Divine.
Remember that Irish guy I went out with?
No.
Oh, I went out with this Irish guy last year. Twice. Went on 2 dates. The first one we got coffee. Totally normal guy. Second one, he invited me back to his place. So I was like, yeah, okay. Got there. The man owned no furniture.
Oh man.
Like, I'm not even talking like mattress on the floor, because we have a mattress on the floor. He didn't own a mattress. He had a mattress pad And I knew he had moved recently, so I figured it was related to that. And I made a comment along those lines, and he was like, no, I spend all my money on records. And he literally had a vinyl collection that he said was worth about $3,000. It was all like shit that you could find on Spotify. But there was like a mint condition Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club in there, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, that is pretty cool.
And probably made up most of the value, honestly. But, yeah, dude was super weird and wouldn't leave me alone after because I was like, I'm not going to stay here and you're kind of boring. And we spent 2 hours watching, like, the video of a Father John Misty concert, which, like, not a bad way to spend 2 hours, but also not a good way to bond. So I left. He texted me every 2 minutes for, like, 3 days. And I was trying to come up with a gentle way to let him down when he went ahead and called me a bitch. So I just went ahead and blocked him.
Hashtag nice guy.
Yeah. Like, damn, when you won't give me time to respond to your last text, it's hard to respond.
Yeah.
Having no furniture is a wacky situation. Why, man, no. You gotta have furniture.
Some furniture.
Yeah.
I do like the idea of living inside like a concrete cube with a bed in the corner. Well, that's just a prison cell. I like the idea of living in a prison cell.
Padded
But
Kenny wants to live in prison.
What are the advantages?
really don't got a lot of distractions. I like that idea. Where it's just like, you know, this is my creation. Like, there's nothing. I don't like the idea of being locked in a prison cell, mind you.
You want to be able to come and go as you please.
Yeah.
I wonder if you could just go ask the Jackson County Prison if they'd like rent to you.
Yeah.
Just one of the cells, but like, hey, like let me like walk around freely.
I have solved Oregon's housing crisis and our budget at the same time. We close the prison and we rent out the various different cells in there.
That's like all time like low for society. Like
Look.
yeah, the housing situation isn't
know.
working out, so everyone's living in prison and paying for it.
I would pay $400 a month to rent a room in prison.
I think that renting rooms in a prison, like realistically, probably would be like it would be a miserable environment one way or the other because like it's all cell.
It's very crammed.
Right, it's really cramped.
I like the idea of living on in a concrete cube, like
in the
down
forest.
the street or in the forest. Yeah.
That would be an interesting
bunker.
dwelling.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a bunker in the forest.
Yeah.
We should build a bunker.
There's probably property around here that you can buy that has a doomsday bunker of
Yeah.
some kind on it.
If you
I
just had
wouldn't
like a
doubt it.
bunker in the forest that was like in the ground, no one would ever find you.
Yeah.
Well, that's the premise of The Lovely Bones.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I haven't read the book,
Yeah.
but I understand the premise.
It's a horrible movie, both cinematography wise and plot wise. Have you seen The Lovely Bones?
No.
The whole premise is that this man is a pedophile and he builds an underground bunker and lures this little girl there. She's like 12 and kills her. And then like the rest of the story is weirdly told from like the book at least is told from this girl who had a crush on her's perspective of like the aftermath. I don't remember the movie because it's shot really weird.
I thought the book was like from the perspective of the murdered.
And the movie's from the perspective of like this interesting afterlife, and I think
Yeah.
she's also like communicating with some girl that's like
She's communicating with the girl that liked her. Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, I often think about like places that you could hide that would be unfindable. And like just in the middle of the forest is a pretty good place to go. Like I built a shack in the middle of the forest where it like without knowing where it is, it'd be pretty dang hard to just stumble upon it because there's a lot of forest and not very much of the shack. So just the odds are on your side.
Yeah.
But especially if, like, instead of it being an above-ground building, you had just a hatch that went down into, like, an underground layer, and nothing is around the hatch. Like, you just have to know, like, it's between that rock and that tree. You go to the middle there, and brush aside the leaves, there's a hatch. Like, no one ever would find it. Ever.
I think my favorite underground bunker entrance is from the movie Red with Bruce Willis and John Malkovich.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah. And like they go down to Louisiana to go get John Malkovich's character, and he like walks over. He's like, "Yeah, I'll take you to the house," and they like pass by the house and go to this old like broken down VW Bug that's on blocks and everything.
Yeah.
And lifts open the hood, and there's just a ladder going like 20 feet down to this bunker.
I've always wanted to have an underground hideout.
Oh,
It'd
yeah.
just be so cool.
Yeah.
I just like hideouts. The idea of them is so much fun. Like, oh my god, a secret place you can store all your secret things. Store lots of weapons for when the revolution comes. Well, on that note, I think we've nearly hit an hour, so we might want to wrap it up here. Brandon, do you want to play us out on that jaw harp?
Yeah, sure.
All
Wait.
right. Oh, what?
If any of you lost a puppy,
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
please contact us.
If
We
anyone-
don't want her.
She's red, loves belly rubs, just always on her back. Please contact us. We don't want her. I won't give out a phone number on this format, but you can probably find contact information elsewhere. With that, you wanna let's get some jaw harp action going. Thanks for joining us on the Shoebox Show. This has been a good time. We had a nice chat here. Brandon, Kelsey was our guest. Stephen Pupele was here as well. Kenny Carter and Sydney Cook. I've been Keegan Van Hook. What's that? Oh yeah, and of course Schnapsy was here as well. Pickles came in every now and then. You may have heard them panting and having their little battles. With that, please join us again next time and have a good rest of your week.